begin the invocation. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhe Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Hari Om. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? Anybody? You form the link and we can move ahead. We had not completed the 43rd shloka, I guess. Or we had completed it. So yes, please, anyone. Can we recollect what is it that we saw last? Anybody? Yes, Chaitanya ji? Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Ashutosh. So last time we had seen about yesterday we had seen about the death part. So Krishna is asking Arjuna to not to fear death. He's telling him that he was there even before, even today is there, and spiritually everyone is going to be there even after their death. And we don't know what is the part before your birth and what is after your death. So he is asking him to continue with his duty, not to run away from it, and he described about Atman. I mean, some people experience it, some people acknowledge it, even though they have not experienced it. Some people take that as a pramana from their guru or someone they trust. Yeah, and that he is trying to convince Arjuna that even in difficult situation, you perform your duty without by remaining balanced. You are likely to open the gates for heaven for yourselves rather than running away, where you will be actually laughed upon by your enemies. Then you should be doing your duty without getting trapped in karma bandhanas. And he described about two perspectives, which is where one perspective identifies oneness in all, another one is a divisive perspective, where it creates a divide. Maybe it is driven by some desire. It is trying to get some material benefit out of it, and anything that they do, maybe it may not come from for a noble cause. It be more from the selfish perspective. So yeah, these
Okay.
are the things we looked at.
All right. Perfectly said by Chaitanya ji. Again, the many times what happens, mind attaches to emotions. And right now, Arjuna's mind has attached to emotions, and that has, marred his understanding, his perception. It's like if I wear sunglasses with a particular shade, everything is going to appear in that shade only, and that is exactly what emotions do. Krishna keeps trying again and again. First, pull out Arjuna from his state of emotion. Na shochitumar hasi. He says, as Chaitanya ji said perfectly, he said, you know only one portion of your life, that which you are aware of at this moment. Maybe as all of us, we know from our childhood, from the time our memory is there to this point, we know what's happened, what has happened so far. But we don't know what was before, we don't know afterwards also. So you know only one third of the aspect. And how can you get that paranoia or imagine everything when you have knowledge only of one third? So don't speak with certainty and stop imagining the worst case scenarios. That is the first thing Krishna has told Arjuna. Then he says, Acha, theek hai, you're not able to relate with it because of your emotions. You don't believe in this spirit or the Atman. You feel everything is going to get over with this life only. Even if that is the case, there is some practical aspect, isn't it? We cannot lose that, he says. Even if that were the case as a warrior, you have your bonds with all these people around right now. What will happen to them? So again, your tears are of no use at this moment. They have no value. Don't do it, is what Krishna is trying to tell him. He says, Mahabaho. He reminds him, the one with the drooping shoulders is being reminded that he is the one. He is the Mahabaho, the one with the strong shoulders. O son of Kunti, he says, Uttishta. In the morning, many times we begin, Uttishta Govinda, different Suprabhat musics are there. Now here Govinda is only telling Arjuna Uttishta, but yet Arjuna is not getting up because of his emotions only. So again, emotions are not bad, but emotions have a ability of blinding us, preventing us from understanding. Just let us continue. So, as Krishna said, I will now tell you, he says, see, for even by logic, if you are a Kshatriya has the aspiration to fight. Kshatriya wishes to fight, and every action that a Kshatriya does is conscious of his dharma. As a young soldier also in the army, he is ready. He is ready to fight, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice also. Because when I uphold my dharma, I have done all that is right. Many times, do you think it is worth trying also, or it's not worth trying? Because sometimes you feel hopeless in a situation which is beyond our control. If you have a choice of doing something, let me make an effort. Let me make an effort. Yes,
I think it is useful because even if your effort does not succeed, that may give inspiration or show way for subsequent people who are going to make an effort.
yes, and your conscience is clear. No, at least I
Right.
tried. The road is blocked. Some an ambulance has to go. So many times we have seen this in the movies also, or sometimes in real life also. One person gets down and tries to push, even though it's not possible. It's not logical for one person to push. But he said, I'm not going to sit just like that. At least I tried, I will feel in my heart that I didn't do nothing. And then he starts pushing, and then suddenly from nowhere, 10, 20 people come and all join together. And that is what we can say a collective consciousness working. So that began, that triggered with what? With one individual. Otherwise, everybody, no, people will get back sprain. I'm not a professional who cannot do this. And all these unnecessary questions come in, and sometimes people don't do what is right. So Krishna is saying, remember, see, it is not a frying pan fire situation. He says it's a win-win situation. Because number one, your efforts will not go waste. Your efforts will, your efforts will inspire others also. And in case you don't succeed also, your Swargodhar is open only. You have not done anything wrong. Arjuna, understand that. And the second, and if you don't die, what more is greater than that? The world will celebrate your victory. That means the side of good and righteousness has won. And I think this is exactly how a great, creed of Karma Yogis were born in Bharat also. That is why Lokmanya Tilak is, equated with a particular shloka of the Gita, Karmanye Vadhikaraste Mam Phayeshu Kadachana. Because he is called that creator of so many Karma Yogis, that is why he got the name Lokamanya. Young ones would go to him, please give me your blessings. Why? Our life is going to get over now. We are going to make the supreme sacrifice. But he also, as a fatherly figure, his heart would have, emotionally he would have felt so bad. But yet he would take one step back. Shivaste Panthaha. Happy journey. Go ahead. Best wishes. But this was required also. Azad Hind Fauj. What happened? So many sacrificed their lives for what? For a simple aspect, what we call today the idea of what we are experiencing, the Bharat, the idea of Bharat, what it is. It is born from sacrifice. And that is something Krishna is reminding. Oh, Kshatriya, don't forget that. He says, I'll tell you, if you are worrying about sin, remember there's a sin of inaction, a sin of not doing at the right time what work needs to be done. So you're not going to escape. A lot of people think I'm a cat on the wall. It will be okay. It's not exactly my job. Justice is everybody's job. Justice cannot be only one person's job who is now the victim. He has to alone fight. If you don't fight for justice, what's going to happen? Injustice will prevail. It will come to us also, isn't it? It is as simple as that. Let us continue. Many times that happens even in apartment systems. No, it's not mine. It's not mine. Unka problem hai. There's a crack in their side of the building. It's not ours. You keep ignoring it, and suddenly that crack becomes so wide it comes into yours, and you're like, oh my God, now I have to. Well, we can't always wait for the last moment. Not looking after something at a small, like they say, a stitch in time saves nine. So at the right time, you have to work on it. Krishna goes on. He says, see, if you are worrying about sin, because you see, different, there's a gray area also, because we don't get this kind of situation like Arjuna, where you have to fight your own guru. I mean, the very concept of fighting a guru is crazy. So fight your own guru, fight your own guru tulya, elders, people you care, all of them you have to fight. It's a very difficult. And here, if Arjuna is thinking, what is it sin? Krishna says, if you're not just driven by your emotions, if in sorrow and joy you are keeping a balance, even profit or loss, I'm not doing it out of swartha. I want that throne. That swartha was never there in Arjuna. That's why he's receiving the Gita from Krishna, because he's not swarthi. He says, no, neither profit nor loss. If you wage this war also, if yuddha also, if you do with a balance, why loss and profit? Because nobody likes losses, no? We want things to happen according to our wish, but if it does not, that also we should be able to take with a balance. And he says, then there is no papa. No papa also. In Adi Shankaracharya's, we say Atma Shatakam, there is a beautiful line. Na punyam, na papam, na saukhyam, na dukkham, na mantror, na tirtham, na veda, na yajnam. Then what is it? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. It was a question asked, who are you? And this young Adi Shankaracharya did not know it was his guru who was asking. But since he was connected with that higher consciousness, he composed it on the spot. He said, I am not this. I am not of the auspicious. I am not the inauspicious. I am not the punya. I am not the papa. I am something beyond that. And what is it? He said, I have got the realization. So he already had that realization when he went in search of his guru, and then the next journey began. So let us continue. He says, I will reveal the secret of Karma Yoga, where you perform your actions, yet you don't get trapped in Karma Bandhana. It is said in this state of Karma Yoga, you don't create new sanskaras. We will see a little later what sanskaras are. It is like a impulse or a footprint. Each of us has a footprint. Yes, Karthikji wants to ask something. Yes, sir.
Hari Om.
Yes.
Rishiji, I just want to know, and how would you apply this? You said profit or loss, say in a business.
Ha,
So
ha.
in a business, there is that some amount of swarth, right? Because you're not, I mean, you are running a business to make profit. So that element of swarth is there. It is not
Is it Swarth or is it Swadharma is something? Because when Swartha comes in, I am going to focus on profit no matter what. You are actually giving, it is like karma only. Business is what you are giving a service in return for the value that is given. To sustain your business, you are employing so many people. So many people's lives run because of it. So you have to ensure that it is most profitable. It's your duty. But to make it profitable, if I start changing, like for example, we are manufacturing Ayurvedic medicines. I know that this particular Sajatamasi, one herb, it comes from the Himalayas. It is so costly. 1 kilo costs this much. A large scale industry may feel, why do you need to put this herb in the first place? It's not profitable at all. But here in my case, I know it is required. My Guruji has made that formulation and I have to be true to it. So I cannot leave my karma for the sake of profit.
correct.
That is the
Very
only
true.
aspect. That is
Okay.
one thing. That is the only aspect. And that way, if you see, if you give a service, can service be valued with the price that you assign to it? No, isn't it? No amount, whatever service, it is invaluable. You offer it, it has
Correct.
nothing. There is
Correct.
nothing higher. You are giving it. An artist will give a value for a particular painting. But does that mean that the value is the value of the cost of the paper, the say acrylic paint medium if it is used or something, or else, or is it this many years? I'm a senior artist, so I'll charge more. No, there's no logic in that. But it is up some means one is Vyavaharik Satya and one is
Okay.
Vastavik Satya. So in Vyavahar, because that sometimes happens, like if you say one interesting in the Bhagwad Gita, nobody dies. Now, in a movie in Bollywood, they have a very good tendency of distorting our scriptures and using it to their agenda. So, it was an old movie. कोई किसी को मारता नहीं, किताब में लिखा है. So this person goes on a killing spree. That's against the spirit of the aspect, isn't it? It says, means here the person is attached to the emotion of murder and everything. And yet, this Gita is talking about a stage of war, where Krishna also is leading by example. War must be avoided. Krishna tries his best with all sincere efforts. War should be the last option. But when sincere efforts fail, then war can be your only option. That is the situation which has come. So yes, Kartiki. So it is applicable for business also, definitely.
Thank you.
Because otherwise the ethics are lost if we forget the connection. Many
Correct.
people, they are nowadays in lot of it happens that way. People want to show turnovers, and then they want to sell off their. I have to bring sale in the first year so I can increase my market brand valuation. I'll get more investors.
Correct.
चलता है, जो करना है कर लेंगे और सेल करके हम फ्री हो जाएंगे. But again, वहां पे भी they feel they'll become free from karma bandhana. But no, that is creating a different set of sanskaras to themselves also. Afterwards, the reputation will get destroyed, isn't it? Though temporary.
Correct.
So it remains there also. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you. Let us continue. So,
Sushilji,
yes, Ji.
sorry, one question. So you said Shri Krishna tried everything to stop the war, correct? He had tried to negotiate, but then he promised he would not pick up a weapon.
Yeah.
But he could have maybe saved many more lives had he simply, had that war between Pandavas and Kauravas rather than having so many soldiers killed.
Means have we had a war between?
If the war was not fought between so many soldiers and it was just between Pandavas and Kauravas, and had he picked up the weapon, he would have easily, shortened the war by so many deaths, maybe.
Actually, if you see recently we got the news of our soldiers, some of them yesterday only, in the hot sun. They, because of, patrolling in the hot sun in the border, two of them died because of the heat, extreme heat. Now, logically, we will say, why are they doing that? It is just a matter of two countries, a property over a land, so many people, so many lives. But then why so many soldiers are there deployed? Why are they fighting when we had the Kargil war also? Why? It could have been just the generals of two sides fighting. They could have gone for an arm wrestling also. Who is stronger, even better than war. But that's an ideal state, isn't it? So many practical aspects happen. There was a mission. There were sides. There were swarthas involved in the nature also. You see, I want this property. I want my son to get this property. I want this to happen. I have had a grudge. These people, these Pandavas think they are too smart all the time trying to show. So I've got irritated by them. Let us finish them once and for all. You know what happens? Forces coalesce. In life also, you see, we don't want to take part in situations which are bellicose, which are going to create conflict. But conflicts happen, no, in life. And there also you see suddenly, अरे इसने उसके side कैसे किया? Even my friend went on that side. How dare he or how could he? We cannot do that. We cannot change control. So Krishna did his best to avoid. He said, give them 5 simple villages. So they uphold their dharma. They don't have swartha. He went as a negotiator. And Duryodhana was far too arrogant. He felt, what 5? They'll still continue to be in my eyes. And I know these people, even if they are given 5 small villages, they'll make those villages too perfect. So this is not something I want. He says, let them, if they are men, if they have Kshatriya blood inside. It was like that. We cannot sometimes choose. We cannot choose, unfortunately. The higher mind will say, nahi, not required. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, my own brothers. But in life, situations come in where you have to take a stand. And this was one situation, Kurukshetra. All battles are not fought in the war field, no? Sometimes they are fought in boardrooms also. They are fought in different, meetings as well, or different places. But the war is the same in ideology. So let us continue.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ji. Hari Om. So what happens? Krishna says there are 2 types of. One is, like as Chaitanya said, why should war take place? So that is the mindset which is trying to see oneness everywhere. One is a vyavasayatmika buddhi. But then there is the opposite buddhi. Yeah, vyavasayatmika buddhi. You tell selfless word also, somebody will get irritated. There's no point in being selfless. You must, I have experienced life like this. You should be selfish only. But problem is selfishness is like a tree that keeps branching again, and branches keep growing. Unfortunately, desires don't get fulfilled also. They lead to more desires. And that keeps dividing. I am better than this person is mine, that person is others. All such branches take place. And Krishna says, then such people, they even misinterpret the scriptures in their selfish desires. What do they want? This birth, they want something. In the Svargalok also, they want something in return. They feel I should get the success there also. I want 5 BHK in Svargalok. Let's see Chitragupta if we can bribe him also. If he can give me my outcome, I will do this particular japa for getting this in return. I will do this particular yajna for this in return. No, that is not the way, is what Krishna is saying. Because if you see Kamat Manaha Swargapara Janma Karma Phala Pradam Kriya Vishesha Bahulam Bhogaishwarya Gatim Prati. Desiring deeply the fruits of worldly wealth, lustfully they seek the heavens and good birth. Ritual like their actions further merely one motive to achieve through every sacrifice a material objective. It's a single word also that is spoken by such a person is that so that they get something in return. That is the nature of a person with a selfish perspective. What happens to them? It's like a dog chasing the tail. The tail is going to be behind only, no matter how much the dog tries, but that the dog does not realize. So all the energies are spent in running in circles. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam tayapa hrutachettasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhau na vidhiyate. In the fruits of every action, their senses are held sway. Allured, their fickle minds meekly wander away. Such people whose intelligence is thus unfocused never attain contentment and are always depressed. The trupti or the containment that comes, that contentment does not ever come to a person who is running after desires. That is, it is said, Asha yaye dasaste dasaha sarvalokasya. Asha yasi dasi tesham dasayate loka. This is a Sanskrit subhashit or a good saying in Sanskrit, which says, someone who is a slave of desire is the slave of the world. Sarvalokasya. Asha yasi dasi tesham, meaning the one who has got desire and controlled desire, desire has become the slave of that person. Such a person is the Raja of the world. The whole world bows to them. If you see here, Jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtam is a description. Means the one who has controlled his indriyas, Jitendra, and buddhimatam varishtam, the greatest among the great people, the great buddhimans, among them the great one. Who is this person that there is a very famous shloka. Anybody knows? Yes.
Hanuman?
Absolutely. Perfectly said, Chaitanya ji. It is Hanuman only. And who is he? He is the dasa of Ram. He's not dasa of slave of desire. So there is something. Ram Das is different. Tulsi Das is different compared to being a das of one's desires. So that is what makes a difference. And there is a trupti, there is the contentment and other things as well. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. He says such people who are driven by desire are always unfocused only because what happens? One desire leads to another and we try to manifest the desire, but how many factors can we control? We can only control what is inside of this or what we are experiencing. We can't control the world. We can't control nature. Suddenly it starts raining. Who is having the power to stop the rain? Or if you want rain as a farmer, can you ensure it comes and the sun stops shining? No, you cannot. So your efforts you can control. So that's what farmers do. They try their best irrespective of the weather. They are also karma yogis by default because of the action, because of the kshetra they are in. Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjana Nirdvandvo Nitya Satvastho Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Oh, Arjuna, it is in the Vedas that the truth is contained. The threefold qualities within man are explained. The true state wherein every desire is conquered and the net non-dual consciousness that is acquired. Means he says the Vedas speak the truth. They talk about trigunas. We will look at triguna a little later. Gita will introduce it in depth. Three gunas, we can call them three operating systems for our knowledge at the moment. We can see they are functioning, which are governing us. We don't know that they are having an influence on us, but one of these three are always working and having an imprint on us. This truth is said in the Vedas. The true state wherein every desire is conquered, how that one state can be reached, where even desires are conquered. It's natural, isn't it, to feel desire, to feel anger, to feel emotions. But what is super is being able to rise beyond the control of these emotions, beyond the control of these general desires, and recognizing something which is beyond. Krishna goes on in that time, a non dual consciousness. And that is the taste which we are all seeking in life. That is the Ananda, which is beyond happiness and sorrow. That can be realized, is what Krishna is saying. He goes on, Yavan artha udapane sarvataha samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. Just as the usefulness of water in a well is all encompassed in a reservoir replete, so too is all the Vedic knowledge as well, known to him who has self-realization complete. It is crazy what Krishna says. He says, somebody who has understood the self, or somebody who gets the realization of the self, he says, he gets the knowledge of the Vedas directly. It's like somebody, you will get the Wi-Fi password. You can download all that wisdom. What the ancient Vedic rishis also. And he gives a beautiful logic of the well. Means if I am thirsty right now and say I want water, if I get it from a glass of 200 ml, if I get a glass of water from there to fulfill my thirst, or if I take 200 ml from a big bottle of water, 1 liter one, or say 5 liter one, or 10 liter can, does it make a difference from where I get it as long as the water is of the same quality? Isn't it? Krishna is saying something similar. Whether it's from a reservoir or from a well, that water is the water only. Something like that, it happens to the yogis who have realized. That is why, have you heard of any yogis who have not studied the Vedas or maybe even not studied the Gita? Have you heard of such yogis anytime in Bharat? If you look into the grammars, if you look into the so many villages, because our Bharat is full of villages, in so many villages there are realized saints for some reason or non-accessibility, or because in that place they were Vedas were not taught or that language was not known. They did not get a chance to study the Vedas, but they did speak their realizations which they got in that laya, in that connection with the divine. And what they spoke, generations later, the Shishyas find the same truth contained in the Vedas is there in this person's words. How is it possible? For me, I was very surprised because after the Gita, I tried to come as a challenge the Upanishads. But I was finding what my teacher told the same thing is there in the Upanishads, and I started laughing. कि अरे ये तो नया नहीं है. It is the same. It is the same. So something like that. So many of them we have. You see, Sant Tukaram. Sant Tukaram Maharaj, he had gone to state because you see, he would speak words which were later called Abhangas. Abhanga means that which will not get destroyed only. They were words of great realizations, and people with simple words could connect, use them as a means to reach a higher consciousness. But then some people started, attacking him because he's not knowledgeable. His entire writing, as far as a decree by some Shastri, they were to be thrown into the river. All his works with great sorrow because he felt it was Vitthala's wish. All right, Even that, you see, we talk about detachment, isn't it? He was already following Karma Yoga. Whether or not he exactly read a particular Shastra of Karma Yoga, he was following it because of his connection and learning from his divine. So he went with all the sorrow to put his like all his writing into the river. And the village experienced a miracle because he came back. He went back sorrowfully. See, God's wish is there. I should not even do what I am doing. I was doing it selflessly, but it's all right. The village saw that the river pushed back all that he had written. It came back onto the shore, and the village immediately recognized. And then he went on to say later on, he said, Vedansa to artha amha sicha thava, yeranni vahava bharamatha. He said that meaning of Vedas only I can claim to know. Let the others carry the weight on their head. He's equating the others who are misinterpreting the scriptures to porters who are carrying, big loads on their head when we go to the railway station. They help carrying the load, something like that. खादिल्यास गोडी देखिल्यास नाही भार धनी वाही मजुरीचे. The taste, now it's a mango season, no? If I come on a session and start eating a mango in front of all of you and say it's very nice, it's very sweet, will you get that taste of sweetness looking? No, it has to come from tasting only, and that is what he says. Khadilyasa godi, dekhilyasa nai. The sweetness of taste will come from experience only. So give those porters their fare for doing the labor. No? Give them their monies or dues. They have done the big labor of carrying this. That was, again, a context is very important. We're not trying to dismiss the Shastris at all. Shastris have great knowledge. But we are talking about those who are misinterpreting the scriptures and our opportunity of connecting with the divine. Shastras have a value. Krishna will also tell us the importance of Shastra in the Gita. Many people misinterpret again that way. Again, it is what human nature, isn't it? Vyavasayatmika buddhi will again, it will twist the meaning. But the essence is this meaning. Can we say it is accessible to us, the Vedic wisdom? Can we say on a ground as a hypothesis? Because Krishna has told in the Shloka, Vedic realization is possible. Is it possible only for those special, what we can say, with the X factor or having a greater realization only, or it's possible for everybody? Anybody, what do you think?
Everybody, anybody.
Everybody and anybody. Yes. There was an illiterate poetess in Maharashtra. Her name was Bahinabai Chaudhary. She was thought, she said, Mazi Maya Sorosoti Maza Shikavite Boli. She pronounced Saraswati as Sorosoti. Somebody would say this is wrong interpretation, but she says, no, my mother Saraswati teaches me. As she works in the field, she learnt everything. And her words were known after her death because her son noted down what she used to sing. Her songs now people are doing PhD. How is it possible? Well, in an illiterate villager, a widow whose only job immediately duty karma bandhana was to put food on the table for the children. She would go working in the field. She did not get a chance to go to different tirtha kshetras. But whatever in her life she tried her best to connect with the divine. And that is how she got the realization. Her songs also are beautiful. And they are very beautiful. Life is like making bhakri. Initially, when you're making bhakri, your hand gets burnt. Then when you become an expert, then you are going to enjoy it. It is something like that. Life experience also will give. So like that, simple things were understood. And Krishna is saying the same thing. His self-realization, somebody who gets it, the Vedic wisdom is accessible to such a person. Now comes the most important shloka. Or I do not say most important, all are important, but this is one very famous one. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मां फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भूर्मा ते संगो स्वकर्मणि. Vested you are with the authority to perform, but not seek your actions' fruits in any form. When by the fruits of actions you aren't motivated from discharging your duties, you never get deviated. This is the seed. This is the seed of Karma Yoga, is what Krishna says. If you are following the Karma Yoga, you have to throw away your desire for the fruits of actions. And then where is the aspiration? How is the karma need? How can one do? Well, Krishna just explains here. He says, you have the authority only to perform, but not seek the outcomes. Why is this good? He says, because when by the fruits of actions you aren't motivated from discharging your duties, you never get deviated. What am I going to get in return if every action is that? If that is determining you or teaching you if it's your duty, just because I'm getting something in return that becomes my duty, then it's a problem. A farmer working in the field, there is no guarantee, isn't it, for the efforts of the farmer? I have watched many times. See some farmers in our own village. Beautiful. Nowadays, I'm interested in the sesame. So that is one reason I am looking at the sesame cultivation a little more closely. But even before that, I remember a close friend and a farmer. He said, this year the yield looks good. And I was also watching. I was also happy with him because every day I would go see him. He would be at the field only. The entire life is there. But everything was good. The plant had grown. It had grown to a considerable height. And I was like, chalo, acha hai. He's going to get a good yield. And suddenly, untimely rain came and it spoiled his crop. He said in the entire 1.5 acres, he got so little kilos of sesame seeds only. I felt so bad for him that I went to talk to him. But it was looking like I am only the Arjuna here and Krishna is the farmer because he was not feeling bad. He said it is with nature. We are in this field. God's wish. This year it did not work. Some years it works, some years it doesn't work. Can you see the motivation to work continuously, irrespective of the outcome? Otherwise, what would he have done? He would have said, let me leave this business at all. It is not profitable. I have to go into something else. But no. And imagine if all farmers decide, I need guarantee, then only I will do farming. India will become importer of food grains because nobody will be cultivating. Because the entire system is like that. So, if you are not only, you are focused on your karma, focused on your karma without expectation of what the outcome is, you will not get deviated while performing your karma. That is the main aspect which Krishna says. That is the secret. It will take time till 18th Adhyay. Krishna is going to keep talking about it, and this is a concept which is very difficult to understand, especially where everywhere we are taught क्या मिलेगा, इससे क्या मिलेगा, एग्जाम्स में रिजल्ट्स आने चाहिए, फॉर व्हाट, सो आई गेट समथिंग, I get a particular degree or I get a better college or I get a better offer. But what happens to the learning? Are we writing exams only for that or are we learning also? I remember a student in my school, he was a very ideal student for our physics teacher, and he told me that this boy was very dedicated to learning only. So much that a particular question was having a wrong option in the exam. And he knew that if I ticked on this option, this is the correct according to the examiner. But he said, according to physics, this is not correct, and my allegiance is to physics and not to this result. And for some reason, he ticked the other answer consciously and he said, Chalo, ek mark gaya to gaya, baki sab mere hi hai. I don't want to change my perspective on this aspect because I feel for me, this is correct. Somebody would say, what a nonsense thought it is. But now he is deep into the physics kshetra. Sometimes the marks 99% person who receives in physics ends up doing something else which is not connected with the field also. But here he was clear on what he wanted. And that is because learning is more important. If you forget a learning, you are not going to understand. For like a friend of engineering friend of mine is now a Supreme Court advocate. He's a very famous advocate now. But you see, what did he do with engineering then? Or I'm now after engineering, I am now into Ayurveda. If I had known earlier, I would have I was not conscious maybe that my life direction is there. But the aspect of Swartha, when it comes in, it affects our action. It affects the quality of work that is put in. And that is why Krishna says, for our sake only. Don't get motivated only by the outcome. Let that be the journey of doing the action. Experience that joy in that journey also. Experience the every action is what Krishna talks about. With sincerity, without expecting fruit. That is secret of Karma Yoga. He goes on, this is a yogi's way. It's a difficult one, but this is the way of the yogi is what Krishna says. He says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhaya siddhayoho samo bhutva samatvam yoga muchyate. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Krishna says, perform your every action in this yogic way. All attachments, Arjuna, you must throw away. From accomplishments and loss, find your release. Then you shall attain the yogic poise and peace. So, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate is one more beautiful mantra of the Gita. This is yoga, balance, experiencing that balance. You lose it, you are losing your state of yoga. You are no more connected with that higher consciousness. That is a great indicator of connection with the higher consciousness, is the balance inside of you. And he says, every action you must be performing this way only, through all your attachments. Because what happens many times, people look at attachments only and drive themselves, isn't it? What is going to come later on? Ah, yes, yes. There's a very famous story of a person who is, yes, I have this milk. I have this milk pot with me. I am going to sell it. This will lead to this. This will lead to that. He starts entirely imagining an entire story. He imagines himself. He has bought something else with that money. That money he has invested elsewhere and it is growing. And suddenly he sees in his own imagination, that person is asking from a lower rate, and then he's arguing with that person in his own imagination. And he suddenly says no. And while saying no, he moves his hand like this, and the entire pot of milk falls down. What has happened here? In his own desires, he's making what people call khayali pulao. Nobody can eat it, nobody can taste it. That is what is happening many times. And Krishna says, like a yogi, he says, perform your action in this yogic way, throw away all attachments. Because then you will experience the yogic poise, the yogic peace. He goes on further. He tries to hammer it into Arjuna. Because Arjuna is right now looking only at the outcome of what is going to happen according to his understanding and logic, isn't it? He says, I want good, I want glory. I will get some glory, something, this if I leave this battle. Immediately his desire is to save himself, but he's not understanding what is the higher truth because, again, emotions and attachments are barring him. That is exactly what Krishna is saying. And he says, forget all the attachments. Do your duty. That's all. Whether or not it is going to lead something, give you something, just do your duty. Krishna goes on, Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanamin vacha kripanaha phalahetaha. Oh Arjuna, the pursuit of fruit is only base and ignoble. Pursuit of desire is ignoble. Clearly Krishna has said. A constitution gives a guarantee of a particular country, the right to pursuit of happiness. Question is, will happiness come by pursuing it? Can we get happiness by pursuing desires one after the other?
No.
Yes, Renuji. No, isn't it? The one on a cycle would say, I want a car, I want a motorcycle. A motorcycle person will say, I want a higher end motorcycle. The one with a higher end says, I want a car. The one with a higher end car says, I want I want a big SUV. The one in that says, why this? I need to go by flight. It will save more time. I will have a greater royal move. So they aspire for that. Some people aspire for chartered planes also. And then the one in the chartered plane looks at a person in the cycle and says, see how free he is. He can go around in the cycle. I can't even go out in the cycle. Because it's just the same. Everybody has the desire and it's a circle which they don't realize and one leads to other. We feel if I get this, this will give me what? Trupti. But the trupti does not come, and that's why a yogi understands. And there were yogis who were rich also. Anybody has heard of Raja Janaka? He was a king. Krishna will give his example. Or, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was called Srimanta Yogi. Nishchayata Mahameru, meaning yogi who is also rich as well. Because a lot of time people feel a yogi is always not connected with wealth, or wealth is something which is to be thrown away, or yogi is not capable of handling wealth. It's not like that. Janaka Raja is a great example who will later on come in the Gita. Krishna also, how is Krishna? He's in a palace, isn't it? But is he attached? Is he attached to his wealth? No, he is not. He's not even attached to his Narayani Sena, which he has trained. Says, chalo, theek hai, you're going that side? Here, all right. Out of duty, I will allow that. Out of duty, I will become the Sarathi only. So this aspect is yogi, and that is why the value of the words. Who is saying it? If Bandhu from the colony says this particular strategy in cricket is good, nobody will listen. But a big cricketer says that this is a strategy which has been helpful for me in being successful, then everybody will understand. Ki, chalo, theek hai, this has come from a source of experience. Something like that. Here, Krishna is one Shrestha person who is speaking, and he is telling us this, that throw all your attachments away. He says this, seek, he says, pursuit of fruit is ignoble, as clear as that. Krishna says it's not right. I think we should follow that. Stop running after the fruits. You cannot guarantee. Even in the market, you can't guarantee the fruit that you desire the most. We go into the market, it looks good from the outside until you cut it open. In the home, you will not know. So let us forget that desire. But of course, this is easier said than done. And that is why Gita will keep coming to this point till the last 18th chapter also. So many changes will take place in Arjuna. But again, this central principle will not change. It will remain. The pursuit of fruit is base, ignoble. This is yoga essence as per the knowledgeable. Seek refuge in its principles, practicable, because seekers of fruits of actions are despicable. Krishna clearly says they are worst people who have got trapped in moha. They are going to go in the wrong direction only. Don't become like that, is what Krishna is saying. And then Krishna says, this is the knowledge. He says, Buddha yukto jahati ha ubhe sukruta dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujjasva yogaha karmasu kaushalam. What is yoga? Samatvam yoga uchyate, or yoga karmasu kaushalam. Excellence in works is only yoga. Or as my Guruji always says, perfection in work is spirituality. If you are not perfect in your works, you have no right to speak about anything about spirituality, is what Krishna says, which my Guruji also says that you have to always try to aspire to do best. And Krishna says with this knowledge of not seeking fruits only and doing actions because they have to be done as a state of duty. With this knowledge in this world itself, from good and bad actions, you can free oneself. Knowing this, engage yourself in Karma Yoga, detachment. Yet excellence in works is only yoga. Means you are detached and yet performing works with excellence. My question is, if you get detached, what is your motivation to do work? We need to have an aspiration, isn't it? If Krishna is saying, don't desire the outcome only, what can be our motivation? Yes, ji.
That is the inner motivation to do it in a very perfect way. That will give me satisfaction, the inner satisfaction that I am doing it in my own way and it's the perfect way. I'm the
Yes.
judge.
Okay, so not for somebody on the outside, it's for ourselves.
Yes,
Means
it is for me.
if I am to cook a food for some 4 people or 5 people who are coming, guests are coming home, and I'm planning to cook something. Should I cook I get some result and people will say, ki, wow, what a tasty food? Or what should my perspective be there, Renuji, in light of what you said?
Yes, when I cook food, I cook it with that intention that I'm cooking for the highest, the Almighty. Let it
Not,
come.
yes.
It come in the best way possible. आप
Not
जानो ईश्वर.
because,
हाँ,
yes.
आप जानो. ये आपके लिए मैं बना रही हूँ, आप जानो.
Yeah,
Because I'm not a chef. I'm an ordinary
absolutely. Yes. And many times when works are done like this, isn't it? The works become very special. There is a divine touch. People say Annapurna Ma is prasanna in this household when this person is not trying to impress the other person. The person is just ensuring. And many times what happens, your concentration is not on what the other person thinks, it's in the action. Means when you are focused, then there will be no mistake. It will not get burnt, extra salt will not fall in, extra spice because I want to impress a person will lead to stomach trouble in somebody else's later on. So these are all unnecessary things which come in when you are not focused in your work. Instead, when you focus on your work, then you can actually ensure that the work is perfect. And when you sow a plant, say sow a seed of a mango tree, mangoes only will come, isn't it? It will not be oranges coming out of a mango tree. So your karma is right, result will come, result will follow. But your attachment should not be to the result, should be on the focus on should be on the karma only. A young boy of class 8 in our Krishna's Butter children's batch, he shared his experience in a maths Olympiad. Because some of the initial batches they were saying, what are we teaching children? Because everywhere the parents are more concerned, इसको मार्क लाओ बाकी का बाद में देखते हैं. So are you teaching, disturbing him from his attitude? He is a topper. You are telling him don't expect results. The way we thought we convinced the parent also at that time when they asked us the question, but we got the best result from this boy only. He said, ma'am, he shared to the teacher audio note also that time that I was in the exam hall. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what is going to happen. And this one question was troubling me. I was thinking, this is the right way, that is the right way. I had this doubt. Suddenly I said, I remembered what you told me in the class. So I said, go, leave it, forget it. To Krishna, I will offer, let it be. Let Krishna do what he wants. I don't care. Let me do what I want. And he actually sent him there. And even the difficult problem he was able to solve. Now, Krishna didn't come and write the paper, isn't it? He wrote the paper. But his mindset was very clear because he was not focusing on what is coming afterwards. Many times people are only focusing on what's coming afterward, and in the end, they forget what is happening. And that is what Karma Yoga is about. And Krishna says, with this knowledge, you can free yourself. Yoga, Karma Su Kaushalam, excellence in works is only yoga. Renuji wants to say something, is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
one
yes,
thing
ma'am.
I wanted to share related to your question.
Yes, you.
After serving, it is a very pertinent question, or it's a general question. How is
कैसा
the
है?
food?
हाँ. Yes.
Now, that kaisa hai is also if I ask that is an emotion attached.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
what I have felt, that if there are 5% eating the same food, they'll be eating in different mentality, in a different mindset, in a different mood set. So this question is also irrelevant now.
Yes, it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant because we
Just
want
serve,
some
just serve,
expectation.
just
Yes.
serve.
And how do you know it is good or not? We don't have to ask. We can see, no, the way they eat. Yes,
Yes.
खाली हो गया completely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You see, my sister's friend had come, and I had because my sister's friend is also like my sister, so I took it on me as my dharma to tease her also. So I had teased her, and I served a dish. And purposely I wanted to make something, so I made a food, and I really liked it. But she knew I was wanting to hear how it is, so she quickly ate it. But till date, she has not told how that particular dish has come because she knows I have that expectation of wanting. She identified that. No, what happens is we become vulnerable, isn't it? We unnecessarily think. And we had a good laugh. Even whenever you have still not told me how that day's food was, I keep teasing. We playfully talk about it. But the truth is this, moment we attach ourselves to expectation, it's like we are attaching one big weight onto our body. Wherever we walk, we carry that burden only wherever we go. Instead, do your duty, do it right, and let go of everything else. What has to happen will happen. A particular manager did not want to, the team leader did not want to give a good appraisal to one of the members because of personal reasons. This person also knew that. And he felt, his friend came and said, see, anyway, why are you putting in so much efforts? He is going to talk bad only. He is not going to give you any positive out. Whatever you do, he is going to give the minimum report about you to the seniors. But this guy was, I will do my duty. I have to do my duty for myself. I'm not doing duty for him. I'm doing it for me. And interestingly, what happened is his work was so efficient that the senior who was in charge of that team leader, he himself came and acknowledged in front of everybody in the meeting that this person has done excellent work. And the team leader also had no option but to smile and yes, yes. From inside, we do not know what he was thinking. But the karma was so perfect that this is what happens. And this is what people have experienced this. They have seen transformations, changes. Prabhu ko niyam badalte dekha. Suddenly the rules are changing. Why? Because the karmas are so perfectly done. Everybody is bound with karmas, then even Bhagwan also is bound by karmas in this srishti. So actions will lead to certain things. So this is something which Krishna says, and that is why the enlightened ones, they realize it is too childish to run after desires. They say it is childish to run after desires because they're never going to get over and they're going to leave a taste of dissatisfaction only in the end. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam. The most enlightened amongst men are thus aware, and thus for the fruits of efforts they don't care. Liberated from the bondages of birth, they stand, and in the highest conscious states they land. So they become free and they experience that joy. They experience that ananda at all moments. I asked one question once, what is your experience of ananda? What will happen if you are free from the everyday frustration and irritation in your life? Personally, practically, what difference will it make? Because if we want to see why is it, we are looking at its practical relevance, isn't it? You will not start levitating, surely. You are going to have your usual work-related duties. What difference will it happen? What change? He said, my life, there will be less fights in the house. One person said, cut band ho jayega ghar mein. I said, is it? And what will happen then? He said, then my home will become Vrindavan. The simple aspect. He said, if this alone disappears, and he said that happens because of expectations, outcome. I want something to come like this. This person is trying his expectation, another is throwing another expectation, and everything. It is just happening there, and there is a lot of discord. And yogis, or here in this shloka, manishis are a state. It's like a state of culture. You have rishi, you have yogi, you have yati, you have muni. It's like in modern days, we have specialization, super specialization. Somebody goes in the art field, somebody goes in science, somebody goes in the technology field. It is just like that. These are the awakened, liberated ones. You see, they don't care. They don't care for the fruits of efforts. They keep doing their karma. Damleji says one very beautiful dialogue. Neki kar, darya mein dal. It's like a pebble, you are throwing it into the ocean. I think everybody must have thrown pebbles into the ocean. Can we retrieve the pebble thrown in the ocean? We never can. Well, let your good work also be like that pebble which you have thrown into the ocean. Just keep doing good work. Who knows, tomorrow the level of the ocean only will rise. That much great karmas you must have done. That's not your job to count it, but your actions are important. And these manishis are able to land in high state of consciousness by the simple aspect of detachment from the outcomes, only focusing on the action, on the karma. Yada hi moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When the mind thus element becomes and desires web, it overcomes, one becomes free, detached, and undisturbed towards all that was and all that will be heard. Many times bad news comes to us and it spoils our entire moment. But if your buddhi is attached to a higher consciousness, if you are focusing only on the action, Krishna says, this web of desire suddenly overcomes you. You will not overcome you, and you are free. You are free, and you will remain undisturbed. News is news. Good news, bad news, whatever it is, it varies with perspective, varies with kala. What is bad news today may actually turn out to be good news tomorrow. We don't know. Life is like that. But your balance, and it is very important to remain in that balance, especially in the moments of bad news. If you don't have balance, it creates a lot of trouble. I had a very unfortunate incident when I had heard about it from my close friend of mine in school. Her father passed away in an accident on the shipyard, and her mother passed away hearing the news of her father passing away. And in one moment, my friend became an orphan. Just like that. Now, whatever karma, bandhana, all those aspects aside, we can say is if at all that hearing part, at least at that point, if that person was able to, take one step, take a pinch of salt and, take a step behind, maybe my friend would have had a mother, isn't it? He would have had a different life. Because it was sudden, shocking news, and the shock is taken because of the attachment only. One step behind, one step behind. It is required. Arjuna has to now, push himself out of his emotions to perform his duty. And for whom is he doing this duty? For his own loved ones only, whom he cares about. He's doing it for himself also. He has to realize that. But emotions, they cause a disturbance, and that spoils a person completely. And Krishna says that person becomes free and detached and undisturbed. Shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. The bad news that was heard, and even if the bad news that is going to be heard also towards that, we do not know. That is an unfortunate aspect of life. We are not conscious of what's going to happen. So we have to be ready at all times in a balanced state. That is what Krishna says. Even good news, too much excitement sometimes spoils everything. Keep that balance, and that balance is what Krishna calls samadhi. So we'll stop at this shloka of samadhi. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthasati nischala samadha vachala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. When from the disturbances of all that is heard, you become steady and unperturbed, an awakened state of samadhi is then attained, and the union with the cosmic divine is obtained. So Krishna says you get into the state of samadhi when you are balanced from all the disturbances that are heard. Arjuna is now going to suddenly ask a question. So far, Arjuna was silent. We didn't know whether he's listening, whether he's agreeing, whether he's disagreeing. But when Krishna says the word this samadhi, suddenly his ears pick up and he says, what? Samadhi? Because probably Arjuna knows only a different type of samadhi which he has heard. We have all heard of a samadhi, isn't it? Samadhi of a yogi. Anybody can tell me what that is? And we'll conclude today's session. Anyone? What is the samadhi? Yes.
When we lose
Yes.
our consciousness of time and place, and we are deep into
Achha.
meditation.
Okay, that is the samadhi state of consciousness. All right. Yes. But generally, when we say I am going to the samadhi of this particular rishi, or I'm going to the samadhi of in this particular,
In that
ah,
sense. Okay.
yes, yes. So it is like even if the samadhi state you talk about, what do you think that a person will do? Nothing, isn't it? He's gone into samadhi. Means now he's not doing any action. Krishna is just telling Yuddhasva Bharata, Uttishta Kaunteya, go fight Arjuna. And suddenly he says Samadhi, and Arjuna is like, is this another escape I'm getting? Should I go into Samadhi state and then I can escape doing the duty? Or what? Because Samadhi, what is Samadhi? That is a big question which comes to Arjuna's mind the moment Krishna uses this word. So now we'll have to see what is Arjuna's question. And one aspect, one very brilliant aspect is that in the Gita, Arjuna asks very crazy questions, very interesting questions also. Sometimes they are obnoxious questions also. But I can say they are our questions, the questions that come to us. And that is why the Gita is so interesting because all the questions that Arjuna asks are very, very relevant. He will even go on to ask Krishna, how can I believe you? And Krishna he doesn't say blasphemy, I'm going to now with my Sudarshan Chakra cut your head. No. Yeah, he understands and he understands the point of view also of the opposite side. So let us see. Right now, Krishna has introduced one important aspect of Karma Yoga. The aspect of Karma Yoga is not attaching to the outcomes, focusing on the duty. And he has introduced a concept of Samadhi. He says, such a state where you are in balance, you will not be disturbed. Most of the anger comes through here, through what is heard, or sometimes through what we see, and suddenly anger takes control of us. Instead, if you are able to remain balanced, Krishna says, you can connect with what we call the consciousness, the cosmic consciousness, and maybe get a taste of that experience which so many before us have got. That is the rich treasure of Bharat. We have had conscious yogis in every part of our land. We go to a village, go to a city, anywhere, any place, you will find that. And probably Krishna says that is how we can also experience it. So with this, I'll conclude. If somebody can just give a short, brief summary of what we have seen, and we will then conclude and with a Shanti mantra. After which, if you have any queries also, you are welcome. Yes, please. Anybody? If you would like to just summarize something. Yes, anything what we saw today. All right, Chaitanya ji, yes, please. I think everybody is liking Chaitanya ji's explanations also, so they are waiting. Yes, please.
Yeah, so today Shri Krishna talked about the detachment from results or actions of fruits of your actions, because your desires and basically your attachment towards actions of your fruits of your action is what basically drives you in a infinite circle. You never get trupti, you never get satisfaction, and you keep getting affected by the situation. So Shri Krishna has been telling to get away from that, perform your work in a best possible way, and offer it to divine, and don't think about what is going to be a result. That will actually free you up to do your work in a best way rather than getting affected, because it may happen that when you start thinking about results, your actual work starts getting affected. And also to do these works without any selfishness, and yeah, I mean, if you manage to remain kind of balanced, even when you are in a difficult situation, or you are maybe in a you are in very you are getting a joy, even if you remain balanced, I think you get into a kind of samadhi sthiti where you are not so much reacting to what is happening, but you are able to consistently take that ananda of doing your works consciously and with the good perfection, and it helps you to go into a higher consciousness then.
Yes, absolutely. Chaitanya ji, have you read the Gita before?
I have gone through one of your previous batches videos on
Okay.
Facebook.
Oh,
So
acha.
yeah, because
But-
I wanted to I wanted to start with the previous batch, but I think I was late by few
Okay.
days. So I
Acha
was,
ji.
yeah, as and when
Okay.
possible, I was going through your videos on
All right. No,
Facebook.
Why I asked is because right now you gave a beautiful description of Samadhi, which Krishna has only introduced. Now Arjuna's question is going to come, and then we'll see. And I think it's very perfectly said. Yes, that balance, that poise in all moments will give us a great experience. And so let us see how Arjuna is going to relate to it. Arjuna really needs to calm his emotions right now, isn't it? First thing is that whether higher knowledge comes to him or not, that's a different thing. Practically, right now, his whatever grief is so strong that it has become into almost like a borderline depression only, which has taken him absolutely in the wrong end. So, first, before light, he will have to at least start recognizing that he is in darkness to come out of it. Right now, at least, the word samadhi is piqued Arjuna's curiosity, and it's always better when Arjuna is curious. That will give him a chance to seek, and then that will lead to something. Let us see. Already, but the trailer has revealed. Chaitanya ji has already revealed what samadhi is, so it will be nice to look at what Krishna says. It probably will match with exactly what Chaitanya ji has said now. All right, let us conclude with the Shanti mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. हरि ओम तत्सत्. Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Jai Shri Krishna. Yes, if any queries are there, you're welcome, or we'll conclude with the. Yes, we'll conclude after that if queries are there. Yes, please. Anyone?
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Namaskar. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.